flip came from a sales client. It was March of 2020, February 2020 actually. So we all know that timeline. That was COVID. When I had first met with her, I didn't know that COVID was going to be a thing. And this client had big dogs in the house, like 4 of them. And when I say big dogs, like 150 pounds plus. I mean, they were monster dogs. Horses is what the neighbor described them as. So they, they did a number to the house. The floors were rough, the walls were rough, everything was just dirty. Great house. It was a very cookie cutter kind of house, which is a good flip. And I knew a lot about those. I've worked on those before. I lived in one that was almost exactly the same, so I knew a lot about it. The builder, I knew a lot. And she just didn't want to put it on the market, so I made her an offer that made sense to her. And then like 2 weeks later, because in this one I was actually funding it by just putting 25% down and getting a traditional loan, which adds to your cost of the flip, because now you've got to build in all these lender fees, $3,000 potentially. So I was doing that, and then COVID happened. And I was like, man, I'm not sure if I'm gonna. Made her the offer, do it. COVID comes, and I was like, I'm not sure whether I should keep this deal or not. Like, this is kind of crazy with everything going on. I decided to keep it and move forward. So she moved out, we closed. COVID was going on, and it was right during the lockdown period. So contractors weren't really out working. And to be fair, I was doing this in the old model, or where the model I used to, which is where I was the one doing all the work. So I go over to this house and start just doing demo, which is the floors the first thing. And this builder puts down glue down vinyl plank in this house. That's what they do. And there was 0%. The smell in the house was really bad. So there was 0% chance that I'm saving this floor. So it had to come up. So I have a hand scraper, and I am hand scraping this vinyl floor, and it's awful. There is no other question other than it's awful. I'm 34 at the time of this video, so my parents are in their 60s at this point, and my dad taught me a lot of, really taught me everything I know as far as in regards to fixing up and working on houses. So I called him, and I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? This is awful. This is awful. I'm usually a pretty strong-willed person. Like, I can fight through some stuff, but this was miserable. It was coming up like inch chunks at a time because it was glued down so well. And then he was like, hey, dum-dum, there's this machine that you can rent, and it will actually pull the floor for you. So how it works is there's a machine which basically has a scraper, and then it just scrapes the floor. Just scrapes the floor. And it does it really fast, and it's really loud. So I rented that from a rental company, and then the floor came up better. Definitely not easier physically, but still took a long time. So anyways, got all the floor up. The house needed a lot of new trim. It needed new flooring in like the kitchen and the baths. And at that time I didn't know any better, so I was just putting down like laminate flooring that I was buying from Lowe's myself, dumb. And then putting down myself, also dumb. But I did that. Put all that down, was doing all the cuts. I was doing everything, all myself. And then the dishwasher leaked. So then I had to pull like half of the kitchen back up and relay the kitchen down because it's laminate. So if it gets wet for a long period of time, it will absorb into that wood and kill the floor. So that was a fun experience to put the floor down, not once but twice. Cleaned all the walls. My mom ended up coming over on her own time, and she ended up painting, and I paid her to do that, which was great. And it was a little bit of trim work, wasn't too crazy. I had to replace a couple doors, wasn't too crazy. So it was a lot of work because I did most of the work, but it worked out in the COVID time period because we didn't really have a lot going on sales wise, of course. So this was kind of like my inadvertently part-time job that I picked up. And just went over there and worked during the day by myself. So that was pretty cool project. It's also profitable, or profitability-wise, one of the worst flips I've ever done, and I did the most physical labor there. I've just wholesaled properties and made more money than that with not literally even touching anything than what I did, and I spent hours in that house, hours personally in the house.